think one of the most critical pieces to this is the annual planning process, and this is the kind of process we use. It is set up as an annual thing, but it's continual. We're constantly evaluating the plan and executing the plan that's in the system. We start with post-evaluation, and we're post-evaluating everything all the time. We're loading that post-evaluation in at the onset of our planning process to build next year's plan. And it's really as simple as we want to do more of the goodness and less of the badness from a company perspective. We have numbers of tools that we use. We have a post-evaluation model, and it's not readable because there's sensitive information in there, but it's shipments, consumption, everything down to our profitability and our customers' profitability levels. We do an inventory consumption analysis so that when we start the new year, we understand if there are any inventory concerns that could affect the next year. We look at lifts at various price points. We have IRI as one of our partners. We have a whole IRI suite, bump charts, fair share reporting, brand and UPC rankings, all that comes into play that helps us build our next year plan. The next step is really developing the DSMP strategies, distribution, shelving, merchandising, pricing, and our volume and spending guidelines. And the post-evaluation work that we just talked about has a lot to do with that. For each one of our brands, and this is just one example, we create a DSMP guideline so that the sales team has clear boundaries on the way we want them to merchandise and plan our products. We also have volume and spending guidelines where a lowest cost rule, LCR, is nothing other than the lowest net price that you could possibly offer to a customer to achieve the price points that we want to gain. So this is all really working with our marketing, internal, and finance teams to set up the boundaries and guidelines on the way we want the sales teams to build their annual plans. The next step is we normally have a national or regional meeting to present the marketing and trade plans to the sales groups. We normally invite our broker partners to that meeting. It tends to be a rah-rah session, but it really is a detailed group where we hammer through each one of the details for our businesses. Next step is, and this is probably one of the most important elements of the annual planning, is we spend 6 to 8 weeks out in the market. So the sales finance team, the customer marketing groups, and then marketing teams, when available, literally go out with the field sales group over a 6 to 8 week period, and we sit down with our brokers and we build an annual plan. And we set up planning expectations on who does what, field sales and brokers. What does the support team do? And that's the sales finance group, the customer marketing group, and the marketing teams. What do they do? So it's very clear on who's doing what. This is an example of one of the calendars we did for the last week, and you'll see that there are different people in a lot of different places. We're planning each regional geography simultaneously. So we would have the West team planning the West while the East is doing the East, and the South and the Northeast, etc. And we keep track of who's where and when. And it's a very strict timeline we give them, and then at the end of the planning cycle, we do what is considered a roll-up, and I'll take you through that. In order to plan effectively in the field, you have to develop, at least we found what's most important is creating an offline planner. And this offline planner is nothing other than a very fancy Excel tool, and it's been developed over several years. I've used it in multiple companies, and it's a self-contained planning module that you can use. It's click or push button, where you push a button and it brings in all the relevant information for a specific customer. It's set so that you can plan any mix with any customer. You pick your promo group, and it'll bring in all of the information that you need for that promo group, all the historical shipments, gross sales, trade spending, etc., all the prior year information. You can use that in order to plan your next year plans. And we do this in a very organized fashion. What are the national prices? They come in. What are the suggested retail prices, retail margins? How are we going to promote and spend? How does that relate to a retailer? We take it all the way down to our trade investments and our own profitability. So it's a self-contained unit. Once that's done, we do a roll-up, and it's basically a macro extraction of all those planners. We have 125 customers to plan. We plan all those customers in that planner. We run an extraction module that opens every planner and stacks them all up, and then we can and stacks them in this very large Excel database, and then we can do all kinds of roll-ups and analysis with that. Once that's done, we begin to load everything together. All of our club, Walmart businesses, and so our smaller customers are normally loaded or planned and loaded directly into TradePro, and our regular retail customers are done in the planners. We bring those two together through this extraction module so we can get a total U.S. roll-up. And that's what we look at against our corporate objectives at every management level: gross sales, cases, volume, net sales, trade spend, all the way down to the EBITDA line. Once that's done, we roll everything up and we do executive reviews and what's called top-line approvals. After that, and that normally takes a week to 2 weeks, we've integrated what's called a flat file upload directly into TradePro. And the roll-ups that we just talked about, that file is actually reconfigured and uploaded directly into TradePro so that all the events are loaded all at once. So our brokers and salespeople don't need to spend their time doing that manually. Also, all the forecasts that we loaded in the external planner, those are all sent up as well, and it happens overnight. So it takes weeks out of the manual planning. Once that's done, now you have a plan in the system, so the offline planner becomes obsolete, and it really just becomes something we refer back to. And everything in TradePro becomes a maintenance point. And as I said earlier, revolving around that, we're continually evaluating what we're doing, we're executing the plan, and we're constantly revising what's in the system to what's actually happening with the customers.